racing fan wants. Well, couldn't ask for better than Tuscans as well. The thundering V8 powered sports cars, a massive field, Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit for one of their highlight races of the year. And on the outside of the front row of the grid, uphill starts the current points leader, last year's champion. That's the view back from Ian Flux. Right back to the man behind him, the black car of Jamie Campbell-Walter. He is the man who is now second on points, but on pole position, it's Bobby Verden-Rowe. Downhill in the other white car, Martin Short, number 88, the lime green car, third on the grid. Those, the four fastest drivers in qualifying. Looking forward from Richard Martin, who's on the outside of row 10 as they go away with the yellow flags. Yellow flags are out, that's Bobby Verden-Rowe, midfield, so Verden-Rowe had a problem at the start and a massive impact. Well, two cars spun down there, Bobby Verden-Rowe collects them, he's continued, but a huge accident. The midfield and the tail end runners piling in, about a dozen cars or so there, stationary at the front of the start-finish stretch. You can hear in the background the cars thundering on around the Grand Prix circuit, some of them damaged, some of them not, but there is no doubt about it, the race will have to be stopped. Indeed it is. The red flag comes out, Martin Short, the leader, Jamie Campbell-Walter behind him, and Ian Flux third, will not necessarily have any inkling at all as to the size of the accident, but they will all have tried to squirm past the stationary Bobby Verden-Rowe, so they will know exactly why the flags are out. Well, the marshals now have got a great deal of work to do, not only in clearing up cars, but making sure that everybody is unharmed. They are indeed unharmed. Let's have a look again. Watch Bobby Rowe, bottom of the screen, Bobby Verden-Rowe, bottom left-hand corner, and he's just stationary. This is all in slow-mo, so it's taken him about a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds, to get the car restarted into gear and going, but that's enough to bottle up the field behind him. There's a collision going into paddock. Verden-Rowe collects them. Cars all over the track, and they're flying, and an inversion as well. A very, very nasty accident. But luckily, it seems as though everybody has survived unscathed. The cement dust goes down. Look again from Chris Lord. Now we're well back down the order here. Everybody bottling up on the left-hand side. Everybody looking for a gap. They may well not have seen the yellow flags, but now in the right-hand corner, Matthew Kelly and Steve Guglielmi get together. Troy Dunlop gets flung up in the air there in the black car. Bobby Verden-Rowe right ahead of us, wreathed in smoke. Well, he manages to find a way through that carnage, but a lot of drivers didn't. And there's one in the neck collar, Steve Berry. He was the man who got flipped, and the impact with the ground ground the top of his helmet flat. Looking back from Bobby Verden-Rowe then at the start, let's listen. Stalls it immediately, dumps the clutch and stalls it, just gets going, and gives it a massive bootful of revs to try and get out. But, oh my goodness me, well, you can see why the camera was stopped by that impact. What a massive shunt from the onboard camera. Martin Stewart, car number 40, coming back up to the reformed grid for a second attempt at getting this first of two TVR Tuscan races underway at Brands Hatch. Poleman Bobby Verden-Rowe is missing alongside him. Ian Flux gets a good getaway. Martin Short around the outside. Jamie Campbell-Walters going high, wide and handsome into Paddock Hill Bend and getting away with this as well. Ian Flux down to third place. So they stream successfully through Paddock this time. Up the hill they go into Druids. Again, looking back from the championship leader. Martin Short in second place. And Jamie Campbell-Walter second overall in the championship, coming into this double round weekend. Races 4 and 5 of the series. Currently leading the race. Looking forward from Chris Lord. We saw the first chaotic start, courtesy of his onboard camera. Now, as they turn left, climbing, avoiding the oil, you can see the dust being kicked up from the cement dust that's put down to soak up the oil. One of the damaged cars limping round after the first start, trailing its innards along the ground. Through they all go safely enough. And what a circuit this is for these cars. Ian Flux weaving about there as he gets a little bit of oil on the tyres coming up to the Dingledale chicane. Down to Stirling's, slotting it left and then plunging downhill under the bridge. down clearways, braking, turning into Clark Curve, and again the oil all over the road there, just as the drivers need it, and Flux slipping inside Martin Short, a very good run through Clark Curve, down the Brabham Straight, and then mercilessly punishing the pedal as they brake hard to turn into paddock. Colin Blower, number 5, has also moved past Martin Short, so Short slow coming out of Clark Curve as a result of being pushed wide by Flux to allow himself a little bit of room, and Short has dropped down the order. And as ever, the hairpin at Druids with the fast uphill braking area, providing lots of overtaking areas. Cooper Straight, what a misnomer, a long left-hander, and now back down Pilgrim's Drop. Jamie Campbell-Walter under pressure now from Ian Flux. These two rule the championship at the moment. Flux is going for it as they turn right through Hawthorne. Will he hold on? Campbell-Walter has the better line, and that means that pure physics prevent Ian Flux from getting past. Now he's got Colin Blower right behind it through the Dingledale chicane. Martin Short's not giving away this one either. And that cement dust still being kicked up as Fluxy clatters them across the inside curves there at Stirling's. Again, they've come now into Clark Curve. And Jamie Campbell-Walter hugging the inside as much as he can, defending, but Flux still finds a way. He goes over to the right-hand side. Now there's always a chance to get back. Campbell-Walter has a very good look indeed, but Flux knows that inside line coming out of paddock is so susceptible and really gets over to the right as quickly as he can. Up to Druids down in the midfield. There is our camera car going through once more, and battling away is a very sideways TVR ahead of him, just recovers it, coming out of Graham Hill Bend and onto the Cooper Straight, the long curving left-hander. It never is actually straight, that leads into Surtees. Accelerating hard, using all the road, never mind where the opposition is, he's got to sort himself out if he's on the grass. Oh dear, and Fluxy really outbrakes himself into the chicane. But he gets ahead of Campbell-Walter, using the rumble strips and the mud to get past a really straight line it. Well, how will his car have stood up to that? Seems to be going okay at the moment, and Campbell-Walter very sideways, braking on the oil again. Giles Cooper leading this little battle there. In the middle of it is 43, he's our camera car, Chris Lord. And it's a frantic battle all the way through the field, never more so at the front. It's the battle of our camera cars. Oh dear! Chris Lord escapes that time as Richard Martin, 61, who we're riding with, goes down the inside and gets very out of shape on the brakes and has to give best. So there he is, 43, Chris Lord, still just ahead. We ride now with Lord. He's chasing Grant Tromans, number 19. Ian Flux, though, leads them as that battle continues in the midfield. Jamie Campbell-Walter second, Colin Blower in third, fourth place Martin Short coming under increasing pressure now from number 75 Phil Hindley. There's Short in the lime green car, Hindley right with him, pushing this little battle further and further up towards Ian Flux. Behind him number 9 Gavin Cooper, one of the Barclays Bank cars. He's holding down 6th position. Side by side, Rod Gretton and Martin Crass, and our cameraman Richard Martin right behind them. Coming down into Stirling's. Oh dear, very sideways indeed. And that should give Richard Martin a chance to chase them down the hill. Phil Hindley still in 5th. Chasing Martin Short and having a look as they come out of Druids, down Graham Hill into Graham Hill Bend. And then look at this long left-hander, the way Martin Short pulls away because Phil Hindley had a lunge, got it wrong and sacrificed his cornering line. And through goes our camera car, Richard Martin, still ahead of number 43, Chris Lord. The leader starting to stretch out down Pilgrim's Drop. And Gavin Cooper, number 9, just working his way onto the back of this three-way battle now. Martin Short, Phil Hindley and Gavin Cooper trying to get involved in the battle for fourth. Still Flux, Campbell Walter, and in third place Colin Blower. The red and yellow flags are out, the slippery surface flags. And just to prove they're right there at the Dingledale chicane, our cameraman Martin Stewart gets a big weave on. Somebody's left some oil down. His tyres are howling in protest there as well. And it's Giles Cooper, number 14, Giles Cooper pulls off. So that looks as though it was either an engine or a differential gearbox problem of some kind that dropped oil and put him out of the race. Now, once they're safely past, they will have to ascertain what grip there is left. Well, under control of the red and yellow flags halfway around the circuit, but back at the sharp end, Steve Cole and Gavin Cooper swapping paintwork as they go into Druids. Looking back again from the leader, Jamie Campbell-Walter right behind him. Campbell-Walter has really taken to TVR racing like a duck to water. Started out in the junior single-seater categories, did a couple of guest races in the TVR Championship last year, and was so thrilled not only with the standard of the racing, with the preparation of the cars, but the fact that you can do this on a fraction of the budget of even a Formula Ford Championship season, and has become a fully converted TVR racer to great effect. The young man, a racing instructor in his spare time, as indeed Ian Flux is. Not that he has much spare time these days, combining TVRs with racing in the British GT Championship, very successfully of course. Now Flux concentrating 100%, still the slippery oil flags are out. Flux hugging the pit wall. Campbell Walter is going to go in wide and hope to come out narrow behind him. He cuts across the inside, that's the move he's been looking for. He's alongside him. Excellent move by Campbell Walter. Now Flux knows when the jig is up and he will give that one away. Campbell Walter made the move and Flux knew he was dead in the water. He's not going to fight back from a position like that and risk going off. There's still plenty of time to come back and challenge again for the lead. And as these two are disputing the lead between them, they are getting away from Colin Blower. There's the view back. Blower now out of touch in terms of an immediate race-changing move. At any rate, as they go down, Pilgrims drop again. Flux very, very close indeed still to Campbell Walter. He's very experienced. Ian started off as a single-seater man himself in the late 70s in Formula V and has raced up to Formula 3 levels. Sports cars, touring cars, GTs, you name it, he's thrashed it. And he knows when to bide his time and when to make a move. Colin Blower closing now, doing his very best to do so at any rate. And for the first time through Park Curve, there's a daylight gap between the lead pair. Jamie Campbell-Walter with 3 or 4 lengths on Ian Flux. Could it be that he just has better tyres and better brakes at this stage of the race? Middle of that, number 2, Rob Cretin. He's battling away outside the top 10 in this seesaw battle. Martin Stewart gathers it all together coming up to Druids. He's very, very wide indeed. Why is he so wide? Tim Hood goes through into 7th place. That's Tim Hood, number 26, up into 7th. Number 40, Martin Stewart, back down to 8th, and he didn't get Graham Hill bend right either. So he'll be dropping away then. Just behind them, Steve Hyde leaves Steve Cole in his wake. Hyde, number 10, Cole, number 3, right behind him. But here is Campbell Walter, drifting his car on the approach to Stirling's. Down the hill they go, and some gap now. Oh dear, very, very sideways indeed for Gavin Cooper. What's this? Martin Short, my goodness, facing the wrong way on bottom bend. Well, goodness me, Martin Short really got out of shape there. Now, how many cars have got past him? Well, he's being chased now by 26, that's Tim Hood. And Martin Stewart right in that tailing group as well. The lights are on Flux's car. Well, one of them on the opposite side, interestingly, on Campbell Walter's car. Now, Flux is putting on the pressure. You can see there's a back marker ahead, and he wants to be within a cigarette paper's width of Campbell Walter's back bumper when they catch him. He wants to press him. The flag's coming out, though. Campbell Walter can see it. He takes the checkered flag. So the back marker never interferes with that battle for the lead, and that is victory for Jamie Campbell Walter, but the rest of them are still hard at it as Campbell Walter celebrates in jubilation. Well, that'll help him close up on the championship leader and away from Martin Short, because look, Martin Short's got Tim Hood right behind him, but he just holds him off. So, confirmation there, Campbell Walter wins it. Short just getting into sixth position, so that will separate those top three. Flux leads it from Campbell Walter and Short. Round 5 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge, May bank holiday weather, bringing out the crowds at Brands Hatch. The grandstand's packed to the gunnels, with spectators waiting for this second TVR race of the weekend to get underway. Anybody who didn't finish race 1 gets to join the back of the grid. And camera swapping around, just to make my job a little harder. Number 34, Matt Doman, has one of our cameras. Away they go. At the first time of asking, the front row moves this time, so hopefully they'll get through cleanly. We ride again with Martin Stewart, car number 40. Into paddock, it's all looking good. Well, a bit of bumping and boring you expect with the TVRs. Away we go. So we have a leader. It's Jamie Campbell Walter. Second place, well, Phil Hindley was challenging for second, but he's third. Oh dear, Stewart gets spun out. Stewart gets a thump. There he is in the Furnhurst Motorco entry, car number 40. But he rejoins, so we seem to have lost nobody so far. Fingers crossed. Bobby Burden-Rowe, number 27, the man whose unfortunate stall from pole position in the 4th round of the championship on the Sunday morning caused such a calamitous, or helped perhaps cause such a calamitous 12-car shunt. Jamie Campbell Walter leads it then at the moment, but Colin Blower is alongside him. Walter runs very wide. Blower leads. Colin Blower leads it. Jamie Campbell Walter second. Bobby Burden-Rowe now trying to make up places. Didn't finish Sunday's race. Didn't restart it. In fact, he had a heavy collision at Paddock Hill Bend with 2 stationary cars. Third place, Phil Hindley. Swarming around behind them, Ian Flux. Top 5 starting to break away. Dear, oh dear, side by side into Sterling's, and yes, somebody has to pay the penalty for that. Chris Lord here, right behind Troy Dunlop. He's being forced very wide out to the white line. It means that Troy Dunlop has to sacrifice the line going into Clark Curve. Meanwhile, the leader locking brakes. Colin Blower leads it. Jamie Campbell Walter second. Looking back from Ian Flux, and running very, very wide indeed, Gavin Cooper. But a great move by Flux. Goes upside the inside of Phil Hindley. So Flux picks up a position into Druids. That puts him into third, chasing Jamie Campbell Walter. Situation exactly as it was at the end of the last race, with the exception that Colin Blower is ahead of the pair of them. Chris Lord chasing Troy Dunlop hard. They're going through Matt Doman, also turning out now through Surtees up onto the Grand Prix loop, using all the road again. Through go the leaders, Martin Short, and smoke all over the place from Tim Hood, number 26, billowing smoke. Tyres squealing, and off goes Steve Cole, so he's dropping oil as well. We're riding with Bobby Burden-Rowe. Burden-Rowe's seen the carnage. He slows down. Well, were there yellow flags out there? He was passed by 2 cars. Hard to tell in the light and shade here around the Brands Hatch circuit, looking all around at the marshal's posts. Certainly no sign of anything here. And the race continues. Right behind Bobby is Steve Guglielmi, one of the 2 drivers whose collision at Paddock helped trigger off the massive start line shunt. Bobby comes around the outside of Steve Hyde. There is Hyde as they come onto the Brabham Straight. And pressure on the leader from Ian Flux, who is now alongside Jamie Campbell Walter. He will go through there as Campbell Walter runs wide. Out of paddock comes our camera car, Chris Lord. Ahead of him, number 61, Richard Martin. A long way ahead, though. Lord's going for it, though. Oh, very ambitious indeed. Contact. Well, I'm not surprised Martin shut the door. I don't think he really expected anybody to be coming in from that distance. Well, they continue. Bobby Burden-Rowe now on board with him. Very odd angle. He's about to turn left. We still see him going past. Very, very confusing. Looking right, you turn left. Quite unsettling view from that movable camera. Ian Flux now is giving the race leader, Colin Blower, a very unsettling view. Flux had his hand out the window. Red flags are out. He's seen the flags. He has. He avoids going past Blower. They've all got their arms out of the windows. The race has been stopped. Well, that's the reason, in fact, that incident a lap prior, when all that oil went down. Cars off. Steve Cole on the grass, and Tim Hood also, the car expired and he just had to park it in what was deemed a dangerous area. So those 2 and a bit laps, 2 3/4 laps have been cancelled. And away we go again for race 2 of the TVR Tuscan Championship at Brands Hatch this weekend. Oh my goodness me, and all hell breaks loose. That's our cameraman, Chris Lord, in the grapple. It looks like number 19, Grant Tromans, was the man who veered across the track towards him. Somebody coming back onto the circuit off the grass. Well, that looked like it was Richard Martin. Grant Tromans' yellow car, you can see there, that's 12 Neil Anderson. And is that James Stevenson? Looks as though it may have been. Well, Jamie Campbell-Walter leads it from Ian Flux, but I think that may be rhetorical. On board with Matt Doman. Oh, locks up, loses it. Oh, just waiting for the impact there, but it didn't come. So he's having a bit of a John Lacey multiple U-turn moment there. They're all cruising. The flags are out then, surely. This is not normal racing speed. So the red flags are out to stop this restart. Now, let's take a look at the start once again. Clean getaway from the front row. And everything okay and hunky-dory at this stage. One of the Barclays cars, Steve Hyde, gets down kind of low. But there, right in front of us, the Dayglow yellow car, Grant Tromans, gets together with Richard Martin, one of our camera cars. And it's Tromans being spat off the barriers or off Martin's car and into the middle of the road, whose car causes all the confusion and most of the damage. Yes, that is number 50, James Stevenson, down there with Neil Anderson. And let's look again from our ill-fated cameraman, Chris Lord. Gets away, watch the Dayglow yellow car right in front of you. There's the collision, and whoa, here he comes, and Chris Lord, well, he does his best to save the car. It's a good save. He gets into the gravel. He's out of the race. He knows that, but it didn't cost as much as it could have done. With Richard Martin. Now, Martin is the one who comes down low and makes contact with Tromans. Here we go, here we go. Boom, around we go, and let's see it all come towards us. No, well, the barriers and everything else come towards us. Richard Martin rumbles off down the grass, rattling gravel and everything away, and Bobby Burden-Rowe gives us yet another view of it. Again, you can see the Dayglow yellow car up ahead, and now it's as if somebody just sets off a grenade. Bobby Burden-Rowe taps somebody up the back. There's gravel everywhere, there's cars everywhere, and he gets another impact. My word, Bobby Burden-Rowe's crew must be one of the busiest working this weekend repairing damage. Well, as the field reassembles, a few gaps, and there's a creep, not literally but metaphorically at least, from Gavin Cooper. He was rolling just slightly as the lights changed. He gets a good start but still gets boxed out, running down the inside into paddock. Jamie Campbell-Walter leads it. Ian Flux into third. Phil Hindley just around the outside of Martin. Short gets through, and there is the number 9 machine of Gavin Cooper slotting into 6th behind them. So they're safely away from the start, and hopefully that means this one will continue. Somebody's popping and banging a bit. A little bit of bodywork rubbing going on as they go through Surtees. side by side now. Jamie Campbell-Walter and Colin Blower. Campbell-Walter has the better line. Blower, has he left the door open for Flux? No, he hasn't. Somebody in the lead group has definitely got a broken exhaust. It sounds dreadful, but they're continuing. Campbell-Walter leads then. Blower second, Flux third, Short fourth. Gavin Cooper in sixth place. Phil Hindley in fifth ahead of him. And I've got a feeling it may be Martin Short. It seems to be just around that part of this lead group. Campbell-Walter leads then. Blower, Flux, Short. Here they come. Hindley fifth. Getting away from Gavin Cooper. Bobby Burton-Rose should be there or thereabouts. Not far away behind them. There he is, in eighth place at the moment. So Ian Flux still battling for third place. Having sent it off Martin Short, immediately has a look at Colin Blower for second. And it does sound as if it might be Flux, in fact, who's farting and banging. There's the number 12 TVR Works development car, Neil Anderson, back in the race. So they're hard at it, trying to keep the thing running. Bobby Burton-Rowe, very, very sideways indeed. I wondered whether he'd hang on to the place. He doesn't. So he's having a very, very torrid weekend, is Burton-Rowe. Ian Flux slips inside Colin Blower for second place, and it is undoubtedly Flux who's got what sounds like a very broken exhaust. Martin Short looking at Colin Blower. He's going around the outside at Clark Curve now, switches to have a look at the inside, but they're all hugging the white line down by the pit wall. Jamie Campbell-Walter leads it. Flux second, Blower third, Short fourth, Hindley fifth. In sixth place is Gavin Cooper. And here is, dear oh dear, out of the race goes number 10, Steve Hyde. I was just about to say, and here is Cooper's teammate. Well, here he is, there he goes. Green flags as they come up to Druid, so still a valid overtaking place. Burton-Rowe doesn't have a chance there. And Steve Hyde out of the car, out of the race, in the tyre wall at paddock. Now, are they going to red flag it? Don't seem to be at the moment. I think they're desperate to get at least a couple of laps under their belts in this race. So through go the leaders, and Burton-Rowe trying the outside this time. Gets it as they go through Hawthorne. Into Westfield come the leaders. Flux under pressure. This is out of Dingledale into Stirling's, in fact. Flux under a great deal of pressure. It sounds horrid, but it shouldn't be robbing him of too many horsepower. Just enough, though, it would seem. Colin Blower had a very, very tidy exit to the Dingledale chicane, clearly. He was threatening in Stirling's. He passed him on clearways, coming down into Clark Curve. Flux doesn't get close enough to have a look at paddock. Down the hill they go. Martin Short just edging two wheels over the curbing, playing with the penalty line. You don't want to go too far over there, or you do get docked time. It's not part of the racing circuit. Flux very, very close indeed now. Colin Blower really under a great deal of pressure. This is fantastic TVR racing at its best, and everybody's enjoying it from the sidelines. Jamie Campbell-Walter leads round 5 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge at Brands Hatch. May bank holiday weather and some fast, frenetic action from the TVRs. Ian Flux in third place. You can see him darting around there in the white car, trying hard to unseat Colin Blower. And this is a battle now being joined by Martin Short in the lime green Mole Valley Motorco car. That horrible ratchety noise is Flux's blown exhaust. It doesn't seem to be blunting his attack here at all. And Colin Blower is really feeling the pressure. Blower runs a little wide, not wide enough for Flux to get alongside. But maybe he'll have a chance into paddock. Flux is down in there. Colin Blower's on the outside. Can he hold on to it? Flux goes past. Can Blower come back? No, he can't, because Flux's car is double length. Martin Short is attached to the back bumper. That doesn't stop Colin Blower. He's certainly going to have a go, but Short goes through as well. Just holds it. So Campbell Walter leads, Flux second, Short third, and in the space of 2 corners, Colin Blower goes from second down to fourth. 21, Martin Crash looking very battle-scarred. Oh dear, and another thump on the car. Thank you very much indeed, Giles Cooper, number 14. And he's off in the barriers. Oh, that is very terminal. That one is not going to polish out at all. So out of the race goes 21, Martin Crash. Here are the leads there. Third place now, Martin Short, Colin Blower right behind him, Phil Hindley, Gavin Cooper in close attendance. Gavin Cooper now a couple of lengths away from this battle, but Phil Hindley right with it. Gavin Cooper, I think, probably has worries of his own with Bobby Burden-Rowe and the likes of Steve Cole right behind him. Campbell Walter with a comfortable margin now to Ian Flux, if there is any such thing in TVR racing. There is Bobby Burden-Rowe getting very loose and still cocking a wheel into paddock. And picking up the wheel as well, Phil Hindley, really showing the adhesion once the V8 gets the grunt going as they power out of the corners. Martin Short, trail braking and locking a wheel, nearly gives Colin Blower a chance to get past there at Surtees. He's down Pilgrim's Drop, he's guarding his line as they come into Hawthorne. And then Derek Minter straight into Westfield. And it's all very, very tight indeed for third place. Who comes out ahead? Still, it's Martin Short. Still, it's Colin Blower in fourth. Still, it's Phil Hindley in fifth. Through the Dingledale chicane they go. Bobby Burden-Rowe now in seventh on the tail of Gavin Cooper. So we could be looking at a change in the last couple of corners, but the flag awaits Jamie Campbell-Walter again. So for the second time this weekend, the headlamps are ablaze. The fist is raised in triumph out of the cockpit, and Ian Flux is in second. The battle for third, it'll be Martin Short. Martin Short gets it from Colin Blower, Phil Hindley, Gavin Cooper and Bobby Burden-Rowe in seventh. So fantastic action once more from round 5 as there was in round 4 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge. There are the top 3. Young Jamie Campbell-Walter gets his garland. Martin Short and Ian Flux the first to congratulate him. And a fantastic race.
Now that's 2 in a row now, and Flux is not supposed to be beaten here at Brands Hatch. What's occurring?
I know, he said that to me yesterday. He said, I haven't been beaten here for 9 years. I said, are you sure? I said, well, we'll change that tomorrow. So, no, I'm really over the moon. You know, it's really good, especially to beat Fluxy.
Twice?
Twice, yeah. It's sort of winning a Tuscan race, but you've got to beat Fluxy no matter what happens. So, yeah, I'm really happy.
Well, there, the championship closing up a little. Flux scored well, but Campbell-Walter scored better. Donington Park in England, the venue for round 3 of the Privilege Insurance.